5 common reasons as to why the application for naturalization gets denied and how to avoid them, those denials, how to avoid them. Bijoux Ngwanda here, immigration lawyer in the DC metropolitan area. If you're new to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. If you're not new, welcome back. Thank you for subscribing. And please don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. If you enjoy the content, please go ahead and share, like, and don't forget to comment below. Also, don't forget to join us on our private Facebook group where we answer questions live at least once a week or once every 2 weeks. Let's get right into it. Reason number 1, failure to pass the English or civics test. This is so obvious. If you fail to pass the English test, the application will be denied, of course, because you didn't pass the minimum requirements, okay? But the good thing about this one is that you have a chance, a second chance to retake the exam. Just ask about it. What can I do to retake the exam? Because you have a second chance to retake the exam. Reason number 2, failure to properly obtain lawful permanent resident status. Okay, this is the big one. A lot of people, when they get a green card, sometimes they get it through fraud, misrepresentation. Let's say, for example, you got into a fraudulent marriage, but USCIS didn't find out. They went ahead and gave you a green card, and then later on your application of naturalization, some red flags have been raised. Maybe you put some information that kind of led them to investigate more and find out later on that you obtained that green card through misrepresentation or fraud. Your application will be denied because you failed to properly obtain the green card at the first place. That's just an example for that. Reason number 3, failure to properly maintain lawful permanent residency status. You have to maintain your lawful permanent residency status. Meaning what? If you have a green card, of course, that's why it is called permanent residency, because they want you to be here permanently, right? But let's say you start traveling outside of the United States and you stay longer than allowed without prior acquisition of a permission, right? So because if you want to stay longer than allowed, you have to request a permission by filing the form I-131 so that you can stay for more than 6 months. But if you don't do that and you stay for more than 6 months, just know that the presumption is that abandonment of residency has occurred. So let's say, for example, you stay there and abandonment has occurred, but for some reason they let you in, right? Then you went ahead and applied for the naturalization. You fill out the form N-400 and apply for naturalization. And later on during the interview, they kind of figure out that you actually failed to maintain residency status, that you actually abandoned it because you stay longer than allowed without prior acquisition of a permit. So my friend, the application will be denied. So if you're going outside of the country, just make sure that you don't stay longer than necessary unless you have the intention to ask for permit, okay? And remember that we have talked about abandonment before. This one can be overcome by showing that your intention was not to stay there. Your intention was always to come back, and there are a lot of ways you show intention, but family ties, work, businesses and stuff like that. Maybe you were taking care of something outside of the country and took you longer than expected. You can always overcome this one by showing intent, okay? Reason number 4, failure to establish continuous residence or physical presence. Remember that for people who got their green card under marriage, the residency requirement is 3 years, physical presence 3 years continuously, right? And then for other people it's 5 years, physical presence continuously for 5 years. If you fail to demonstrate that, then the application is going to be denied. So how do you avoid it? And traveling back, you have to be able to know how long you've stayed in aggregate outside of the country for all those times that you have been traveling. In total, how long have you been staying outside of the country? So if you can figure this one out and know exactly how long you stay, you can avoid this denial by actually starting over with your physical presence requirement. You know what I mean? So that's actually the fourth reason. The last reason, not really last, but for the purpose of this video, that's the last reason. Number 5 is failure to establish good moral and character. I've talked about good moral and character in my previous video in detail, because this one is major and so overlooked by applicants. What happens at the interview? At the interview, what's happening is that really they go through everything, because that's the last step, right? You want to become a US citizen, and that's your last step. They really investigate a little bit more than usual. So let's say, for example, you're a person who was trying to conceal information, pretty much misleading USCIS, that will be construed as a person without good morals and character. So if you're drunk all the time, a habitual drunkard, so person with no morals and not a good character. If you have been charged with felonies or misdemeanors and stuff like that, you will be considered that you have no moral and you do not have good character for the purpose of this application, and your application will be denied. So how do you avoid this one? So let's say, for example, you find yourself into those situations, especially with habitual drunkard. You can fix that by going into rehabilitation and be able to prove that you have received help, okay, at the rehabilitation centers. And some crimes too, instead of applying earlier, because some crimes, for example, after 3 years, it can diminish their impact on your application. Maybe you should wait for 3 more years before you apply for the US naturalization process, because at least 3 years has passed, and then the impact of the crime that you have been charged can be also diminished. So at that point, when you file your application, chances are it's going to go through. So those are the ways, the common reasons why it gets denied, and I give you some examples as to how you can avoid them. If you need a consultation, please call 202-751-2180, email bijoux.ngwandaesq@gmail.com. Until next time, bye-bye.